Hello and welcome to the International Soccer Preview by Soccer Files Canada. My name is Kevin and we are continuing our look at the players of the African Cup 2021, and today we're looking at Ghana. So just to tell you how we organize this, we have organized the players into positions, which are a bit artificial because they don't always play in that positions, but it's a good way to organize things. And we have kind of looked at their participation, especially over the last year, and organized them into definite candidates, likely, possible, possible but unlikely, and seems to be off the squad. And once in a while, players pop up that are not in our files. So we'll give a little information about those once we figure out who has actually made the squad. So after kind of introducing some of those players, then we look and see which ones actually made the squad. And we try to predict who are going to be the starters on the squad. Now, if you want to just jump to the end of the podcast, say the last 4 or 5 minutes, we do a review of the players we think who are going to be the starters or the main players on the squad. And you can kind of get a summary of things that way. However, through the podcast, we'll give a bit of information on all of the players who are especially the more likely candidates. And for those watching on YouTube, we have a simple graphic so you can actually see the players' names. And for audio listeners, we'll try to repeat the names 3 times or so to help familiarize you with them. So let's begin with Ghana's manager. It's Milovan Rajovac. Milovan Rajovac is Yugoslavian by birth, Serbian. And he has been the manager of Ghana since 2021, but this is his second stint with Ghana. He was their manager from 2008 to 10 also, and took them through the African Cup 2010 and the World Cup 2010. He's managed a few other teams also. He managed Thailand, Algeria, Qatar, and several club teams too, including Red Star Belgrade in Serbia. Okay, so that is the manager, and we predict that he will retain his job and lead the team through this 2021 African Cup. So in a sense, a starter. Let's take a look at goalkeepers, and we begin with the likely candidate, Jojo Wallachot. Jojo Wallachot is new to the team. He had his first cap in October, but then he played all 4 of their remaining games in 2021. So it looks like they're bringing him in here. He's 25 years old. And of course, 2021, his first cap, and he has amassed 4 caps. So new. Born in England, he also plays in England for Swindon. We have a likely or a possible candidate in Lawrence Atizigi. Atizigi played 2 of their 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for 5 others. So he's 25 and has been with the squad since 2017, but only 7 caps there. He plays for St. Gallen in Switzerland. And he was on the squad for the 2019 African Cup, but he was just on the bench. All right, and then a bit more of a veteran, but only a possible candidate is Richard Ofori. So he also played 2 of their games in 2021. He was injured for the first 2 of those, but not selected for 6 others, including the last 4. And he's 28 years old with 25 caps since 2015 and plays for the Orlando Pirates in South Africa. And he was a sub in the 2017 African Cup, playing in just a B team game there. But he became the starter in 2019, started all the games and actually performed well there, especially against Guinea-Bissau, where he made some excellent saves. Another possible candidate is Razak Abalora. So Razak Abalora played the first 3 of their 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for the next one, but then not selected for the last 6 matches. Though the 25-year-old has 4 caps since 2020 and plays in Ghana. And then we have a couple of players who seem to be off the squad in Felix Annan. So he last played for the team in November 2020. He was a backup keeper in the 2019 African Cup. We'll tell you more about him if he's selected. And also seems to be off the squad is Abdul Fatawu Dauda. So he actually returned after a 5-year absence from actually playing, a 3-year absence because he was on the bench in between that period in November 2020 for his last appearance. So he was a backup keeper in a lot of African Cups, 2008, 15 and 17, the 2014 World Cup, though. He was not the starting keeper, but gained the starting position as he had in the 2013 African Cup. But at 36 years old, seems to be on his way out, as I said, last appearing in November 2020. So it looks like they're not settled on a goalkeeper. The most likely candidate played only 4 of their games in 2021. So I'm not sure what we're going to see here for goalkeepers, but I can tell you which of these are on the squad. So Jojo Wallachot has made the squad. He was our likely candidate, and only one of the 3 possible candidates made it. Lawrence Atizigi is on the squad, but Richard Ofori and Razak Abalora are both off the squad. Same with Felix Annan and Abdul Fatawu Dauda are not on the squad. Instead, they've added 2 players here. So we have 2 new players. And Abdul Nurudin is one of them. He has no caps for the national team, but he did appear on the bench in September 2021 and was on the bench for 4 of their remaining 6 games. So a new name there. The other one is Richard Atta. Similarly, Richard Atta has no caps for the national team and first appeared on the bench in October 2021 and was on the bench for 2 of their remaining 4 games. So none of these guys have a lot of experience. And I'm going to say that Jojo Wallachot looks like the most likely candidate to start. Lawrence Ataziga, possibly a starter, but looks more like a backup keeper there. And Abdul Nurudin and Richard Atta, almost certainly backup keepers, having no experience with the squad. So really struggling to find a starting keeper is Ghana. And let's move on to defense. So we'll begin with central defenders. Sorry, I got a bit mixed up thinking we were talking about midfield. No, central defenders. So we have 2 likely candidates in Daniel Amarte. Daniel Amarte played 7 of their 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for 3 others. So actually almost a definite candidate here. However, okay, I'll give some biographical information and then continue. He is 27 years old and has 33 caps since 2015. He's never scored a goal for the national team. And he's currently with Leicester in England and has been actually for 5 years, and with Copenhagen in Denmark before that. So his first African Cup was in 2015, and he was a starter, as he was in 2017. However, in 2019, he suffered a broken ankle and was kind of out for the season and for this tournament. Didn't recover in time for that. but he has recovered and is now been playing a lot in 2021. So I would say almost a definite candidate there. The other likely candidate is Alex Jiku, Alexander Jiku. Played also 7 of their 10 games in 2021. He was injured for the first 2 of those, so again, quite likely here. He's also 27, like Daniel Amarte, but he's only been on the team since 2020 and has 11 caps. He plays for Strasbourg in France. And we have a couple of possible candidates, in fact, quite a few here. Joseph Adu is the first one we look at. And he played 2 of their games in 2021 and was on the bench for 4 others. The 26-year-old has 10 caps since 2019 and plays for Celta de Vigo in Spain. He was a sub in the 2019 African Cup. Next one is Jonathan Mensah. He's more of a veteran. But he only played 3 of their 10 games in 2021, and he's 31 years old with 68 caps and 1 goal since 2009. And he's currently with Columbus Crew in USA since 2017. He played for Anzi Makhachkala in Russia before that. And he's been around since the 2010 African Cup, but was really just a sub in that and in the World Cup 2010, 2012 and 2013 also a sub. But from 2014 World Cup, he was a starter. But then in the 2017 African Cup, went back to being a sub and was in the 2019 African Cup too. So certainly has been around a lot, but only for 2 tournaments was he a starter. And he played 3 of the 10 games in 2021, so doesn't look like a starter here either. The next possible player is Ismail Ganiu. So he earned his first cap in March and played 3 of their remaining 10 games in 2021, but was on the bench for 5. So he's 25 years old, but earned his first cap in 2021, so has 3 caps now. And he's playing for Asante Kotoko in Ghana. And our last possible candidate is also an injury risk, so I'll put him down in the injured category here. He played the first 3 of their 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for the next one. But then he was, as I said, injured for the last 6 matches, so a bit hard to determine his status. He's 24 years old and has been with the team since 2017 and has 13 caps and 1 goal. That's Nicholas Opoku. And he plays for Udinese in Italy, so that's a pretty big club, but I think it'll mostly depend on his injury status. Gone from the team, or seemingly so, is John Boye. So John Boye was a veteran with the team, starting in most of the cups, most of the tournaments since the 2012 African Cup. He was a starter in the 2014 World Cup. Yeah, I won't give too much detail on him, but he's 34 years old now, and he has 70 caps and 5 goals. However, he last played for the team in November 2020. Okay, and finally we'll mention Kasim Nuhu. He also seems to be off the squad, last appearing in October 2020. But he was a starter in the African Cup 2019. However, he got 3 yellow cards, so was suspended. No, wait. I think that was in... Yeah, no, he got 3 yellow cards in that tournament, so was suspended. Okay, that is a lot of players as candidates for central defense. So let's see which of them made it. And Daniel Amarte, our likely candidate, and Alexander Jiku are also likely, did make the squad. And Joseph Adu made the preliminary squad, but not the final squad. But Jonathan Mensah made the squad. Ismail Ganiu did not, nor did Nicholas Opoku, and veteran John Boye is kind of confirmed to be off the team now, not making this tournament, and Kasim Nuhu didn't make it. And in fact, despite all of those names to choose from, we have a new candidate brought in, and that is Abdul Mumin. Okay, Abdul Mumin has never appeared for the national team before being named to the preliminary squad, and he made the final squad too. He's 23 years old and plays for Vitória Guimarães in Portugal. So I would imagine he's going to be a substitute here, but managed to break into the final squad there. Going back, I would say Daniel Amarte and Jiku, Alexander Jiku, will be the starting ones. Both of them played 7 games in 2021, whereas Jonathan Mensah only played 3. So predictably, he'll be the backup behind those two, Amarte and Jiku. All right, let's go to left backs. And we begin with Baba Rahman. So Baba Rahman seems definite here because he played 8 of their 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for 1 other. And he plays for Chelsea in England. And he has been loaned out to several teams. He's on loan to Reading right now, but he's loaned out to teams in Greece, Spain, and France and Germany over his time with Chelsea. So trying to get onto the Chelsea squad there. He's 27 years old and has been with Ghana since 2014 and has 41 caps and 1 goal. So his first tournament was the 2015 African Cup. He wasn't selected for the 2014 World Cup. And he was a starter in 2015 and in 2017. He started on the bench in 2019, but gained a starting position after game 1. And Baba Rahman, a candidate we can be confident will start. A possible candidate is Gideon Mensah. Gideon Mensah played 2 of their games in 2021 and was on the bench for 4 others. He's 23 years old and has 6 caps since 2019 and plays for Red Bull Salzburg in Austria. And then we have a couple of candidates who are possible but unlikely. So we'll just briefly introduce them and then come back if they're actually chosen. So Ibrahim Imoro earned his first cap in March, but wasn't selected for the last 6 matches. And I was wrong. The other candidate is actually someone who seems to be off the team. Lumor Agbenyenu seems to be off the team. He was a starter in 2019 in the African Cup, but he lost his starting position after game 1. And that was the last time he played for the national squad. So he's currently with Aris Thessalonica in Greece. But let's see who among the left backs made it. And unsurprisingly, Baba Rahman is on the squad, and I'm sure he'll be the starter. And our possible candidate, Gideon Mensah, did make the squad. But Ibrahim Imoro and Lumor Agbenyenu, neither of them made it. At the right back position, the best candidate we have is just at the possible level, and it's Andy Yeardom. Andy Yeardom had played 5 of their 10 games in 2021, including the last 2, but then he wasn't selected for 5 games. And he is 30 years old and has 18 caps since 2017. And he was born in England, and he spent his playing career in England, currently with Reading, since 2018. So he was a substitute in the 2017 African Cup, but he was given a starting position for the 2019 African Cup. So a possible candidate, having played 5 games in 2021. And we have 2 possible but unlikely candidates. So Abdul Fattah Mohammed, he just played 1 game in 2021, and Benson Anang, he played 2 games in 2021, but they were the first 2, and then he wasn't selected for the last 8 matches. But Benson Anang is only 21 years old, so we could see him down the road. And then a few players who are off the team. Christopher Netty made a brief appearance, but not since November 2020. He's also 23 years old, so may come back into the picture. And then a retiring kind of veteran with the team. Well, not fully retired because he's still playing in the USA. Harrison Affel. He plays with Columbus Crew in the USA now, but he's 35 years old, and he had 84 caps over his 10-year career, playing in several African Cups as a starter in 2015 and 17. But I see actually he's been off the team for a long time, so I won't go into further detail. He was not selected for the African Cup in 2019. All right, so let's see who among those made it. And really, we only have one kind of stronger candidate, Andy Yeardom, and he did make it. But none of the other players we talked about were selected. Instead, we have a new candidate in Philemon Bafour. So Philemon Bafour had no caps for the national team, but he did appear on the bench in June 2021 and was actually on the bench for 6 of their remaining 8 games. So he should have made my radar, but didn't. He's 20 years old and he plays for Dreams FC in Ghana. So a kind of an up-and-comer. I'm pretty sure he would be a substitute here. And even Andy Yeardom, even though he seems the only candidate at right back, I'm going to put him as a maybe because he did only play half of their games in 2021. All right, we're moving on to the midfield. We will begin with defensive midfielders. We don't have any actually strong candidates for defensive midfielders. We have Afriye Aqua, but he's only possible but unlikely, having he did play 1 game in 2020. That was the first game. Sorry, I should say 2021. It was the first game, but he wasn't selected for the last 9 matches. So he's been around since 2012, but never fully made it onto the squad. He was a substitute in all of their tournaments from 2014 World Cup onwards, but never... he sometimes gained a starting position after starting as a substitute, but never fully kind of made it onto the squad. Another name to kind of throw out there is Justice Boye, but he only played 1 of their games in 2021. And then a couple of players who seem to be off the squad. So Ebenezer Ofori, He was in the 2017 African Cup, but not the 2019 African Cup. He made the preliminary squad there, but not the final cut. And Yakubu Mohammed also seems to be off the team, having last appeared in October 2020. So has never been on the team much since his first cap in 2015. So not a lot of candidates there. And let's see if any of them made it. No, none of them made it, but we do have a candidate who was added to the squad. I'll just mention him by name because he was selected for the preliminary squad, but not the final squad. Salis Abdul Samed now has no caps for the team. Just 21 years old, was named to the preliminary squad, but not the final squad. So I guess we have to rely on central midfielders to play a more defensive role. And we have a couple of likely candidates in Idrisu Baba. Idrisu Baba played 8 of their 10 games in 2021. And he's been on the team since 2019 and has 11 caps, does the 25-year-old who plays for Mallorca in Spain. So brand new to the squad, but seems to have inserted himself quite firmly, as has the next likely candidate, Mohammed Kudus. So I think Ghanaians are quite excited about this player. He played 8 of their 10 games in 2021 also, and he scored 2 goals too, one in each of their games against South Africa. That's not the controversial 2022 penalty against South Africa. They also met them in qualifying for this tournament, and he scored in one of each of their games. So he plays for Ajax in Netherlands, and he's just 21 years old. With 10 caps and 3 goals since 2019. So Mohammed Kudus. But there's so much competition here because we have a couple of other likely candidates in central midfield. Thomas Partey. So he actually just played 4 of their 10 games in 2021, and he wasn't selected for 5 others, including the last 2. However, one would imagine that if he's available, he'll be chosen. He plays for Arsenal in England and was with Atletico Madrid before that, and Atletico Madrid's youth club also. So pretty big clubs there. He's 28 years old and has 34 caps and 12 goals since 2016. So quite a scorer for a central midfielder. And his first tournament was the 2017 African Cup, and he was a starter there and in the 2019 Cup. So I think he'll be on the field if he is selected. And our last likely candidate, so this makes it 4, is Mubarak Wakaso. So he's also a veteran, played 6 of their 10 games in 2021, and 31 years old. He has 67 caps and 13 goals since 2012. But he has been playing in China for the last couple of years with 2 different clubs, and was with Alaves in Spain and Rubin Kazan in Russia. He's been with quite a few teams, Greece also. And he was a starter in 2013, but just a sub in the 2014 World Cup. But he's been in every tournament and was a starter in the last 2 African Cups. Wow, we also have 3 possible candidates, but I'm just going to mention them by name here just to save a bit of time. So Majeed Ashimero just played 1 of their games in 2021, but was on the bench. He's a 24-year-old who plays for Anderlecht in Spain. but he has no tournaments, even though he's been with the team since 2017. Also possible is Edmund Addo. So he earned his first cap in November and played one of their two remaining games. So he's with Sheriff Tiraspol in Moldova, the team that surprised in the Europa League, 21 years old. Eric Lamote played 4 of their games in 2021, but wasn't selected for 6 others, including the last 4. And he's also been with the team since 2017, but only has 7 caps, so hasn't really made it onto the team, hasn't been in any tournaments. And I'll just quickly mention a player who's off the team, poor Alfred Duncan, who was with the team since 2012, but never made it to a tournament despite making a couple of preliminary squads. There. Okay, well, that is a lot of names again. Ghana has so much to choose from, and we'll see who among these central midfielders made it. Well, I'm guessing some of them are playing out of position here because all 4 of our likely candidates made it. So that's Idrisu Baba, Mohammed Kudus, Thomas Partey, and Mubarak Wakaso. And I mean, all of them look like starters. Perhaps not so much Wakasu. I'll put him as a maybe. So we didn't have any defensive midfielders making the team, so some of them will be more defensive minded, but maybe playing in other positions as well. Let's see if any of the possible candidates made it. Just one of them, Edmund Addo, was selected to the squad, but wow, he has big names in front of him. So I'm going to say he's going to be a substitute. Okay, left midfielders. Well, Andrew Ayew. Andrew Ayew is coded as a left attacking midfielder and also a forward, so maybe we've misplaced him a bit here, but we'll deal with him anyway. Andrew Ayew, a really famous player for Ghana, so a definite candidate here. Even though he is kind of getting up there in age, currently 32 years old, and he recently earned 100 caps, so a centurion, with 22 goals, and he's the captain of the team, and he's been there since 2007. And he plays for Al Sadd in Qatar now, but he was with Swansea in the English League. That's a Welsh team in the English League, and West Ham in England also. And he was loaned to Fenerbahce and played for Marseille in France. He's been over. I'm sure a lot of people will know he's the son of the legendary Abidi Pele, who won the African Cup in 1982, 17 years old, part of that winning team. In fact, the last time that Ghana won. So we could drone on endlessly about Andre Ayew. He's been in African Cups since 2008 onwards. He did decline to play in 2013, probably because of injury, because he's a pretty dedicated soul. I think he and Jordan actually play a little better for Ghana than they do for their club teams, but I might get an angry email having said that, but that's my impression. Anyway, Andre Ayew, a definite candidate. Jeffrey Schlopp, on the other hand, has struggled to make it onto the Ghana team. So he is a possible but unlikely candidate here. He just played one of their 10 games in 2021, and he's never actually played in a tournament, but he's been around for a long time. He was selected for the preliminary squad in 2019, but didn't make the final squad. He plays for Crystal Palace in England and played for Leicester in England for a long time too. He was part of that title-winning team for Leicester. Anyway, possible but unlikely, so I'll just quickly review. And it's as we expect, Andre Ayew is on the squad. And once again, Jeffrey Schlopp is not. All right, moving over to right midfielders. Yeah, I totally put Andre Ayew in the wrong category there. Sorry about that. Right midfielders, we have two possible candidates. Rashid Norti. He earned his first cap in June and played one of their remaining games, so I won't go into detail on him. And Kwame Opoku. Kwame Opoku also earned his first cap in 2021 in March in his case, and he played three of their games, so I would say a bit more likely than Rashid Norti there. And he's a 20-year-old who plays for USM Alger in Algeria. And then I'll mention Kwame Opoku, but we consider him possible but unlikely. Just played one game in 2021. Okay, let's see which right midfielder made it, and none of them. None of them made it. All right, well, let's get on with things and then do left wingers and see what we have there. So the left winger, we have a likely candidate in Kamaldeen Sulemana. So Kamaldeen Sulemana played 5 of their 10 games in 2021, including the last 4. So it's always kind of promising when they're selected for the games immediately before the Cup. Kamaldeen Sulemana is just 19 years old, but he has 7 caps already since 2020, and he plays for Reims in France. And then Emmanuel Garcia, we consider possible but unlikely. Emmanuel Garcia just played 3 games in 2021, but wasn't selected for the last 6 matches. So kind of came in and out, 27 years old there. And then a player who seems to be off the squad is Tariq Fosu Henry. And he earned 4 caps in 2020 and was on the bench in 2021 for a couple of games, but hasn't been selected for the last 6 matches. So not a likely candidate. So we don't have a lot to choose from here. And let's take a look and see which of these made it. But I'm going to take a quick sip of water, if you don't mind. All right, I have returned. All right. Well, Kamaldeen Sulemani did make the squad, and we also have a new candidate in Joseph Paintsil. Joseph Paintsil had earned a cap way back in May 2017, but then returned after a 4.5-year absence when he was named, surprisingly, to the squad. But that first cap was earned when he was 19 years old. Now he's 23 years old, and he plays for Genk in Belgium. So I'm guessing he's going to be a substitute, having just been called in. And Kamaldeen Sulemani, not a starter for sure, but since he's the only one in that position, we'll leave him as a possible. No, I'm going to make him a possible starter. I'm not convinced he will start. He has such stiff competition Osman Bukhari is the only player coded as a right winger, and we have him as a possible but unlikely. So I won't go into detail on him other than to say he played the first two of their remaining 10 games in 2021 when he had his first cap in March. But he was with the under-23 team for some games, but not selected for the last 6 games. So he plays for Ghent in Belgium. I just mentioned Genk for a different player, but Ghent is a different team. Joseph Pinso plays for Genk. All right, and let's see if he made it. No, Osman Bukhari didn't make it. So let's just look back and see. We have a plethora of central midfielders with Idrisu Baba, Mohammed Kudus, Thomas Partey, and Mubarak Wakaso. And on the left, well, he's more of an attacking midfielder, but Andrew Ayew is sure to be on the left side, but further upfield. And we have otherwise no left midfielders, no right midfielders, a maybe left winger, and no right wingers. So not a lot. So I think some of those central players or maybe the attacking players will fill those roles. And we're moving on to the attacking players. And, well, a player I consider as a kind of a right attacking midfielder or a right winger even. But anyway, he's listed as an attacking midfielder. I'm keeping you in tremendous suspense by not mentioning his name, but that's an accident. And I'm sorry I haven't mentioned the name of Jordan Ayew, who we consider a definite candidate. So the positions are a little fuzzy here. But in terms of being a starter, Jordan Ayew almost certainly will be. And kind of like his brother Andre, he has such a long resume. He does have 27 caps less than Andre Ayew, so he has 37 caps. Sorry, 73 caps and 18 goals, whereas Andre Ayew has 100 caps. And Andrew Ayew has been around since 2010. So he has also been a starter in all cups. He also didn't play in the African Cup 2013. So both of the Ayew brothers missed that one. My note says he was under a self-imposed exile, but I'm not dead sure what that means. But it was only for the 2013 African Cup, and he was a starter in all cups since 2012. Otherwise, in the World Cup, though, he started game 1, but then he lost his starting position, which never happened in any of the African Cups. But anyway, let's move on to a likely candidate in Daniel Coffey Chiara. So Daniel Coffey Chiara played his first cap in September 2021 and played 5 of their remaining 6 games. So he's 25 years old and plays for St. Pauli in Germany. So new to the squad there, but a likely candidate nonetheless. I see I've marked Jordan Ayew as a starter already, but I haven't even checked if he has made the team, but I'd be surprised if he didn't. Okay, 2 possible candidates for attacking midfielder is Samuel Owusu. Owusu, played 4 of their games in 2021 and was on the bench for 3 others, so quite possible there. He was a sub in the 2019 African Cup. He actually suffered that greatest of insults, being subbed into a game and then being subbed out. But he was subbed out because they had gotten the red card, so more of a tactical change. And perhaps the manager made it up to him by giving him a starting position for games 3 and 4. So he is 25 years old and has 15 caps since 2019. So he's played quite a bit since he joined the squad. despite starting as a sub in 2019. But truth be told, he still looks like a sub here. The other possible candidate is Isahaku Abdul Fatawu. So Isahaku Abdul Fatawu had his first appearance on the bench in June 2021 and went on to play 2 of their remaining 8 games. And he is very young at 17 years old now. But he has those 2 caps since 2021, and he plays in Ghana, so maybe an up-and-comer. I'm not sure he'll make the squad here, but we have him as a possible attacking midfielder. Gladson Awako, kind of a player who made an appearance and then disappeared quickly, played 1 of their games in 2021, but none of the last 6. Christian Atsu seems to be off the squad. So the veteran player Christian Atsu last played in the 2019 African Cup, and he actually won player of the competition in 2015 and was named to the team of the squad, of course. And he also earned the goal of the tournament for his second goal in their game against Guinea. So 2015, a particularly great African Cup for him. But he was a starter in all cups since 2013. However, he now seems to be off the squad, having not played since the 2019 African Cup. We have a whole bunch of players who have been with the team but now seem off the team. So I'll just kind of quickly go through them here. Thomas Agipong, he was a starter in 2000. This is a bit of a sad story. I felt really sorry for this guy. I hope he makes it back to the squad. He's actually with Manchester City in England, but basically kind of on their roster, but not a starter or anything. He's been loaned out quite a bit. But here's the story. He started game 1 in 2019, but then he was a young guy. He's 25 years old now, so he would have been 23, but he's a young-looking guy too. And he suffered 2 rough plays, so he was kind of roughed up. And then he was subbed out at 35 minutes, and then he lost his starting position, never to reappear. Because he wasn't even on the bench for games 2 and 3, but he came back to the bench in game 4. I felt so bad for the guy, but he hasn't appeared for the team since then. So I really kind of hope he manages to get back to the squad, but it doesn't look like anytime soon. Okay, that wasn't going quickly through the players. That's just a good story. So that is Thomas Agipong. Keep his name in mind. I think he'll be back. He's a pretty small fellow, though. Owusu Kwabena last played for the team in the 2019 African Cup, where he was a sub. Bernard Mensah last played in October 2020 and has never been involved in a tournament, so I shouldn't have included him here, maybe. Kwadawo Asamoah, though, is a real veteran for the team, so he'll be a loss. He's 33 years old and has 74 caps, and he's been with the team since 2008. He was on the roster, but didn't get on the field in 2008, but was a starter since then, including the 2010 and 2014 World Cups. He was kind of off the team for the 2015 and 17 African Cups, injury playing a role there, and then was just a sub in 2019. So a real servant for Ghana. And I believe he's fully retired now. He played for Inter Milan and Juventus and Udinese, so all teams in Italy there. But I think he's retired actually from soccer there, so I will remove him. to the retired section. So especially Christian Atsu and Kwadwo Asamoah, kind of big losses there. I don't imagine they made the squad, but I suppose we'll check. So Jordan Ayew did make the squad as expected, and Daniel Coffey Chiara also made the squad. Samuel Owosu is there, and Isahaku Abdul Fatawu also made the squad too. So that's a lot of attacking midfielders to choose from. And none of the others I mentioned did. Christian Atsu and Kwadwo Asamoah kind of confirms their retirement from the national team. Christian Atsu is only 29, so possibly could make a comeback. But Asamoah Kwadwo is 33. Oh my goodness! Despite all of that selection we have a new name too. So added to the preliminary squad was David Abagna. So David Abagna has never appeared for the national team prior to being named to the preliminary squad, and here he is on the final squad. 23 years old and plays in Ghana for Real Tamale United. I'm pretty sure he would be a substitute, though. Jordan Ayew looks like he'll be a starter there. Daniel Coffey Chiara, I'm going to put him as a possible, even though he's really new to the squad. Played 5 of their 6 last games in 2021. But Samuel Owosu and Isahaku Abdul Fatua, I'm going to assume are more bench players. I could be dead wrong about these things, but that's how it seems from the information we have. All right, and finally, moving to forwards, we have just possible candidates here. So maybe some of the other players we've talked about, especially the Ayew brothers, could fill in as forwards. But Richmond Boyacay returned after a 4-year absence to play 2 of their last games in 2021. But he's always had trouble making it onto the squad. The 28-year-old, he's been with the team since 2012, but only has 16 caps in that time. Mind you, he does have 6 goals, which is a pretty good ratio. But he was on the roster in 2013 African Cup as a substitute, but hasn't been selected to any squads since then. And yet he's still kind of around and available for them. But I'd be surprised if he made the squad, I must say. Okay, Caleb Akuban, I would be less surprised if he made the squad. He played 3 of their 10 games in 2021, was on the bench for the last of those, and he's 27 years old and has 13 caps and 2 goals since 2019, and plays in Genoa in Italy. Actually was born in Italy, but has played all over the place in Turkey and England and even Albania. And he was a sub in the 2019 African Cup. So I'm going to put him as slightly more possible than Richard Boyacay. And we'll go through a couple of other names here. Emmanuel Boateng, possible but unlikely. And Kwasi Okier Wright. Not really sure how to say that name, but he was born in Germany. It's a German name. Kwasi Okier Reet, maybe. Anyway, they just kind of popped up in 2021, but didn't make an impact on the squad. And then, a couple of players who I considered possible, but they're injury doubts. Joel Famaye. He played actually 4 of their games in 2021, but was injured at the end. And Benjamin Tete got his first cap in November and played 2 of their remaining 4 games in 2021. But he was also injured for the last 2 matches. So I'll give a little more detail on them if they're selected. And actually, if they weren't injured, we would have them as possible. So it is possible that they will be selected. And then a few names to go through who seem to be off the squad. So Abdul Majeed Waris. It's not my fault. It's Ghana has so many players that available to them that I have to go through all of these names, you know. Abdul Majeed Waris, again, has always struggled to make it onto the squad and last appeared in June 2019. I'll skip Eugene Ansah and John Antwi here and come back to them if they're selected. But I do want to mention maybe one of Ghana's biggest names, Asamoah Jian. I do believe he's retired now. He played for Northeast United in India and then went back to Ghana and played for a season there. But I think he's retired now. 36 years old, 109 caps and 51 goals. What a record. That is almost a goal every second game. And he was captain of the squad. And so exciting. When he started in the 2016 World Cup, a bit of a bad boy at that point in his career, but he was a starter all the way from 2006, 2010 World Cup, captain in the 2014 World Cup. What a name. And he even was in the 2019 African Cup as a sub by that point, and a very well-respected veteran, but that was the last time he appears, so almost certainly won't be here. But Asamoah Jian, one of the great modern Ghana players. All right, let's see who made it then among the forwards. And to my surprise, Richmond Boyacay finally makes an African Cup. I gotta say though that he's going to be starting as a substitute. I'd be surprised to see him as a starter, but then I'm surprised to see him here. Caleb Accuban did not make the squad, and none of the other names except one of the injured players, or one of the players I listed as an injury doubt, Benjamin Tete, did make the squad. So I'll just go back and tell you a little bit about him. He's 24 years old and again earned his first 2 caps in 2021. So he has 2 caps and plays for Yeni Malatyaspor in Turkey. So a kind of a young player. Well, 24 years old is not that young. None of the other ones. So farewell to Asamoah Jian. But wouldn't you know it, despite all that selection, they have a couple of new players to spring on us here. And I'll just mention Fila Afina Jian, because he only made the preliminary squad. So I won't give details, but Maxwell Abi-Quay did make the final squad. Even though he's never played for the national team before or even been on the bench. That's not true. I don't know. He might have been on the bench. I don't think so, though. Anyway, certainly has no cap since being named to the before being named to the preliminary squad. But here he is, the 23-year-old, playing for Great Olympics in Ghana and selected amongst all this competition for the African Cup for Ghana. So I'm going to actually say that Richmond Boyacay, Benjamin Tete, and Maxwell Abi-Quay will not be starters, but will be more bench players. Who knows? They may gain a starting position if they play well. And I'm going to assume that some of the many attacking midfielders and central midfielders they have will fill in those roles, but I could be wrong. So a bit of a strange distribution of players there. Not many players listed on the sides, the right and left midfielders and wingers. A lot of players are listed kind of as central players, but I predict that some of those central players will be used out of position. So let's go back and review. So manager Milovan Rajevac will lead them through the tournament, and they're kind of struggling to find a starting goalkeeper, but it looks like holding the position for the moment is Jojo Wallachot, but maybe this tournament will determine who's going to be their starter going forward. For central defense, we have Daniel Amarte and Alexander Jiku as probable starters, but Jonathan Mensah is a possibility there. Left back, we have two likely starters in Baba Rahman and Gideon Mensah, so probably one of those will be playing out of position. For right back, we only have a possible starter in Andy Yeardom. And in the midfield, no defined defensive midfielders, but a lot of starters in central midfield. So Idrisu Baba, Mohammed Kudus, Thomas Parley, all look likely to be starters, and even Mubarak Wakaso, quite possibly a starter. Well, on the left, but more of a left attacking midfielder, Andre Ayew is sure to start. And we also have a left winger who's quite possible in Kamaldeen Sulemana. But on the right wing, we have no defined players. So we'll be looking for an out of position player there. Attacking midfielders, Jordan Ayew, almost certain to start. And Daniel Coffey Chiara, a possible starter. And I don't think any of the forwards... I don't think any of the forwards look like starters to me. But again, I could be wrong. So I think other players will be playing kind of out of position in that spot, especially look for the Ayew brothers to be starting at least as part of the attack, if not the defined forwards. Well, that brings us to the end of our podcast, looking at Ghana players. So thanks so much for listening. And we are the International Soccer Preview. We're Soccer Files Canada, and Soccer Files Captivate.fm is our website, or you can find us by searching Soccer Files. So that's one word, Soccer Files, plural, with a PH in the middle. And that's also our email address, soccerfiles@gmail.com, if you want to get in contact with us. So thanks so much for listening. And we really hope this introduction helps you to enjoy the African Cup. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you next time.